We all familiar with the band. Jay Moore was being disrespectful to their album.
I was not. When was the last time you ran?
That's the single too.
Last time you ran Tonight by DaBand.
I listened to Bad Boy This, Bad Boy That.
I didn't ask you that. I asked you when was the last time you ran their second single, Tonight. Did you even know that was the second single?
I did, but I ain't ran it in a while.
All right.
Actually, probably was before 05.
Might have been before that. But Freddie P from the band.
I don't think everybody knows about the band.
You don't think so?
Especially some people.
Well, you gotta be a certain age group to.
Especially people in our chat. Band. I don't think the Ghobinator knows about the
The Ghobinator has no idea about the band.
In the early 2000s, P. Diddy hosted a show on MTV called Making the Band.
Talk to him.
And this particular season of Making the Band was making the rap band, and they ended up going by just DaBand.
Yeah.
Which featured Freddie P, Chopper, 𝗙𝗲𝗙𝗲.
Yeah, you can keep saying it. Yeah.
Ness,
Bab,
Sarah.
Shout
out to man. So
that's the history in a nutshell.
Thank you.
But actually, that was the second incarnation of Making the Band, because originally it was 𝗚𝗘𝗄𝗧 who died in prison for stealing. Who created O-Town.
Yeah, okay. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, either way, the Ghobinator was he's born in what's this, 2000? Probably born.
I don't think he was born.
Yeah, he
when
probably wasn't
out.
born yet.
Yeah. Check out the Boy Band Con. Yeah, really good documentary.
But Freddie P had a very serious and somewhat disturbing video about post Bad Boy life. And he talked about, how he's felt like he's been blackballed and disrespected by Diddy. And this is beyond contracts. He's talked about, him putting Diddy on to Khaled and Ross and only making $100,000, repping Liberty City, and how he's had to grind and nobody wants to work with him because he was associated with Diddy. Now, we've always talked about sign your contract, read your contract, sign your contract.
Always.
We stress that here. We talk about that all the time. But this seems like it's going a little deeper with him into mental health, and he seemed like he really was going through something on this one. And I saw on the comments, I saw 50-50. I saw half, Diddy has always done this. I can't believe that there are artists that are still telling the story. And then I saw, get over it. You should have done better with what you got. So Jay Moore, I'm going to come to you first. What are your thoughts on Freddie P, man, in this video? Because it was a serious video. This was not, I took this very seriously as I saw it. What do you think about what he's saying?
Look, I never want to discount anyone who is dealing with any mental health issue,
right?
But I think, and this may be controversial, but I'm just going to let it fly. I think sometimes people use mental health as an excuse for poor behavior and just overall personal failure. Okay. Sometimes, listen, I'm not trying to be. I guess I am a jerk here when saying these things, but I hadn't thought about Freddie P in 15 years since that show went off. Yeah. I remember when I remember his last scene on the show. Like, the people from Bad Boy were telling him, like, where are you? Where, and it could be clever editing, for all I know. And he said, just tell him to drop me, dog. Like, he just didn't seem like this was the life he wanted. And and the thing is, everything that glitters isn't gold. Like, a lot of times people think, oh, I'm gonna be on TV and I'm gonna have this and I'm gonna be this guy, and it doesn't happen like that. And you realize this is actual work. And I'm not just gonna be in the champagne in a limo with the champagne and all this other fly stuff. That this being it's show business, more emphasis on business. And I realize that can be very discouraging for people, but somewhere along the way, you can't blame, you could have always you didn't have to keep being a rapper. You could have done something to maintain your life in these past 15, 16 years to where you're not crying on the internet about what Diddy did to you. Like I said,
I didn't know who Freddie P was.
I said this,
and I knew of the band. I thought
when people when people were trying to be critical, it was like, oh, why isn't Diddy doing more for Black Rob, this, that, and the third? And and the thing is, Black Rob's people came out and said, no, it's not like that. But the thing is, his name is Puff Daddy, but he's not your daddy. You know, you are a grown man. You got if you got kids and you got a wife or an ex-wife or a baby mama.
He's Puff's daddy.
Yeah, it's not Puff Daddy's fault that you know your situation is not the way it's supposed to be, because once you were dropped, Puff Daddy is no longer. It's not, or Diddy or Brother Love or whatever.
That's why he changed his name to Diddy, because he didn't want to be by his daddy.
Don't do that.
I'm just saying.
He tired of paying child support.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't do that.
He out here paying child support for grown men. But you look,
and that might be the bar of the first quarter, man.
You know, whenever I see these, you know, it's like, oh, the bad boy curse, this, that, and the third. It was like, I remember when 112 decided they wanted to leave. Okay, once again, you were on your first contract, you got to leave. You know, you went from being a priority at Bad Boy, you always had platinum albums. Then you go over here to Universal Def Jam, and you got to understand, then you're in the black music division, and you're treated as such, and and there's not somebody saying, why aren't my artists on MTV? Same thing with Faith Evans. She went to Capitol and was never Faith Evans.
Check this out. Here's my question. Jay Diff, I'm coming to you. Here's my question. Everything that Jay Moore just said, right, as it relates to signing your contract, knowing what you get into, you can't blame everything on Diddy. Cool. As an artist, though, outside of the contract, should Diddy be held responsible for how he interacts with the artists beyond the contract? Because a lot of the stuff that he alluded to was not contract based. He's talking about looks, he's talking about connections, he's talking about, you know, building, all those things. From what he's saying, were never presented to him, lobs, if we want to call them.
Yeah.
So it's almost like what is Diddy's responsibility?
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
Well, since he's the street guy, if he got $100,000 off that deal,
yeah,
he should have made it do cartwheels if he knew what he was doing out in them streets. But that's another story, not here nor there. But in the same token, I think the problem is he's taking it more personal because of the position that he was put in. I mean, he was on a TV show that aired, maybe 10 episodes, and then leading up into this album. The album may have went platinum. I don't know.
Probably gold.
But fast forward to now, he's saying that he introduced Diddy to Rick Ross and Khaled. And I mean, Diddy's more like kind of like a gatekeeper when it comes to at least hip hop music or whatnot. And he's feeling like he's gotten blackballed because he worked with Diddy previously, and nobody, wants to work with him. Now, mind you, I haven't heard any of his recent material. I don't know what he sounds like rapping or whatnot.
I did my research. He done dropped videos within the last couple years.
I'm sure he has, but I mean, that doesn't mean that he's the caliber of an artist that Rick Ross, or I mean, we already know who Khaled's going to get. Khaled's going to get whoever's hot right now. So I don't care who it is. If Freddie P decides to get hot on his own, Khaled will be knocking on his door to come do a feature. But he's saying that he's being blackballed because all these people mess with Diddy, and they can't mess with him. Now, I don't know the facts behind that. It could be his own head and paranoia telling him that people ain't messing with me because of Diddy. Or it could just be that you just may not have it anymore. Simple as that. But at the end of the day, you can't, if it wasn't in your contract, and you should have had lawyers look at that, if you only made $100,000 whenever that situation was going on, that's not Diddy's fault. If he writes up the contract and you agree to it, I mean, case is closed. I mean, the Locks went through a similar thing, and he ended up just letting them free. In order to sign.
I mean, they had to,
No, they still had to do something, but
they did a lot.
Diddy was getting paid off them on the Interscope album.
But he was still able to, they were still able to get a better deal than what they had before, even with him getting some of it off the back end. But, I mean, you still have to know how to move and maneuver even without Diddy, just like you were doing before you got with him. You know what I'm saying? You can't lose that hunger just because you're not on that label anymore.
Long, you mentioned you mentioned Diddy's responsibility outside of contractual.
Well, I was just trying to clarify what you were saying.
Yeah, that's where I was going. But what do you think? Just overall, just to I don't think you saw the video. Just to be fair,
no,
but just based off what we've described,
I would say that I don't know. I don't feel one way or the other about this, realistically, because I don't even know who Freddie P is.
Tell him how you feel. Tell him what it is, man.
I don't really care.
There you go.
I'm gonna get you a Freddie P t-shirt.
I don't really care about this. But the one thing I will say, the consistency about it is that Diddy is always being talked about in this light from everybody that's really ever worked with him.
Thank you.
True.
So there's probably some consistency there. So I'm guessing that there's some sort of weird truth behind Diddy's in the Illuminati stopping Freddie shine. You know, I don't
He's
know.
So petty.
I don't know. It's just.
Big Gregory said, "Where there's smoke, there's fire." What he told me.
But you know what? And the thing is, I'm not really here to cape for Diddy, but like
You sound like it though.
but the thing is,
You sound like you wanted a hitman, low key. That's
No,
what you
but
sound like.
I know what it sounds like, but man, just because, you know, I think people are like, oh man, I can't believe Diddy would do people like that. I was like,
I can't.
why do you expect Diddy to like give you $1 a record non-recoupable when you couldn't get that anywhere else? Just because he's black, you expecting it to be a different type of situation where you're not getting, where he doesn't get any money for the investment he makes in his artists, and you're supposed to get all the money.
You know who you ain't never heard talk
long
bad about
stupid.
Diddy?
Who?
Jodeci. Mary J. Blige.
That's a good point.
But you know what? Like
that's a good point.
And you know who they don't really talk about because he doesn't have anything bad. Loon was like, I don't know what these people are talking about. When I signed my paperwork, I made sure I got my publishing. I came home to money.
Yeah.
What's Sean Post?
Well, Mace don't even talk bad about Diddy.
Well, you know, because Mace, this is the thing, and like a lot of people say, oh, well, Mace had to go up there and pressure Puff Daddy to release him from all this. Mace got a $12 million advance from Bad Boy and then retired.
Tough.
And Puff didn't ask for the money.
Tough.
Hey, well,
Tough.
there we have it.
I mean, Diddy is a capitalist. At
Yes.
the end of the day.
Already he's
So
He
it's
about
what-
that paper.
You know, I
It's
mean,
what it is.
Openly
he'll be the
about that
next
paper.
billionaire in hip hop.
but this is the wild
Still
thing
waiting.
when you talk about, you could go to Def Jam and be like, hey, what happened to these bills? Like, and Puff said, look, he said, you know, most people have about a 4 or 5 year run, and then when
He ain't
that's
lying.
over, you know, everybody's not Mary J. Blige.
Yeah.
Everybody
For
is
sure.
not Nas or Jay-Z.
That's true.
In fact, basically nobody are these people. You know, everybody else, we talked about it before when we talked about superstars in
Yeah.
hip hop,
Yeah.
where you might have been in the front row at the award show 5 years ago. They won't even sell you a ticket to get in, you know, now. And it happens to 99% of the artists in the industry. And like a lot of you, this is the thing, everybody thinks they're special.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's
And-
special.
Yeah, and when and the hardest thing for a lot of artists to realize, especially when they're on their way down from their apex or wherever they were in their career, is when they realize that they're not special and they're going to get treated. You know, you're not Michael Jackson, fam. You
Well,
know, it is what it is.
Biggie's estate ain't
And-
talking bad about Diddy either.
Well,
But you know, when it was time to go on tour, everybody sure topped on the bus and went
They
on
sure
tour.
did and got them leather baseball jerseys on.
The check-
Dancing.
I bet if they tried to do a Bad Boy reunion, they'd be on tour again.
100%. The
Can't
check-
wait.
Because they want what they're owed.
Just talk to him, Lone.
You
Smooth,
gonna get some of this ticket money, and that'll be about it.
Smooth Hoosier says Bass Bunny was hard. Ness was hard. That's Brother to the Night.
I like Ness.
Yes, yeah.
Mysterious was dope. Smooth Hoosier.
Who was mysterious?
She was one of the
She was on like
finalists, quote unquote.
no, and I remember they had her like they did like a freestyle competition.
She was cold though.
Okay.
on MTV.
Brother to the Night says I hated Mysterious. Smooth Hoosier says she was emotional. Nate Jeezy says laugh out loud. This was 15 years ago. So they talking about, you know, how long ago this was, and Brother to the Night said nobody cares about Freddie nor the band. So that's what the chat is. That's what the chat
Yeah, you
is
can see
saying.
all the shows; they were in standard definition.
And listen, when he fought AE Ness though, I laughed.
I
That
only
was entertaining.
remember really Elliot Ness.
He was
or
cold.
Ness and Chopper.
Babs could spit though.
I remember Babs. I
Yeah,
remember
Babs could spit.
There was a white dude, wasn't there? They had to put one
He
white
was a
dude in.
singer. He was, but that was on the
And
Day
Diet.
26 joints.
Donnie Klang.
There you go.
And Dylon, of course.
Dialine.
Dialine
Dialine
didn't even show up to the
Black
Dave
Expo one
Chappelle
year.
show.
Yeah, I know.
That line got hype on the White Clap episode because they had the country vibe, like their country's vibe. So I get that. But after that, I was like, fam, you really ain't. I don't know
was
what else-
walking,
what other
he was walking
episode.
by himself downtown during the Black Expo one year.
You doing your taxes, Ness? Is that what's happening?
And I said his name, just being funny. He came all the way back and was like, respect. and dapped me up and went on about his business.
Hey, well, why
I was
you?
like, man, that was the most weirdest encounter I've ever
Why
had.
you say he came all the way? He came all the way back like he had walked past you
He did.
and wanted to come back and make sure
Who is
he
this?
got
I
that
missed it.
love. That line from the band.
Yeah.
No, I remember Chopper came here for like a back to school
I ain't mad at Chopper, man.
Where'd he play at?
with Russ Parr.
Where at it?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Northwest.
Just outside.